Today's guest is Dr. Christine Dolahan, who is a Ph.D. in psychology. She's an energy healer and focuses on the journey of motherhood. So welcome, Dr. Christine.
Yes, welcome. So
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell us what all this is, your journey of motherhood.
Yeah, so I help women on the journey of motherhood. So whether they're wanting to conceive, they're having fertility issues, they're in pregnancy or, postpartum, and suffer from doubt, anxiety, fear, sort of heal, reconnect with themselves, see the grander picture and just lead a life of more joy, more, happiness and prosperity.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one. Can you help with morning sickness as well? Is that something that you can?
Well, we can do energy healing on
Right.
it for sure.
I'm sure that helps.
There's a lot of alternative things that you can do.
Right.
I really focus on the energy healing and the coaching piece. And in the coaching piece, we can talk about, what can I do alternatively? There's obviously allopathic treatments out there, Unisim and whatnot.
Right.
But, ginger tea can help, other things. And so definitely I can help with that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish you were around when I was having
I know.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit more how you work with the journey, if you, start out with fertility and walk us through?
Sure. So, my practice really came to be through my own journey.
Okay.
My husband and I tried, not for super long, but for about a year to conceive. And towards the end, everybody around me was getting pregnant and I wasn't. And we were this close to getting IVF. And I was like, no, let me try one more thing. And I contacted a spirit baby reader. And she was saying, there's 3 spirit babies around you. And the first one, you know what it is? And I'm like, I think it's a girl. And she was like, yes, it's a girl. And she's going to come to you very soon. And so, I meditated one day and I heard this voice in my head and it was saying, Mommy, I'm coming to you soon. So sure enough, a month later I was pregnant and it was a girl, my 2-year-old now.
Wow.
Right. And another one on the way.
Right. And so I loved my pregnancy, but during my pregnancy journey, I realized a lot of moms are, including me, were very doubtful, fearful, especially with the first pregnancy. Is everything going right? And I realized people are, especially women, are not trusting their own instincts enough. They're not listening to their own bodies and they're not listening to the spirit babies, the souls that are incarnating, because they are, and every time I would get very, very fearful, I would ask my daughter and be like, is everything okay? And she'd be like, yes, Mommy, everything's okay.
Oh, wow, that's wild.
And she would come through in dreams and, and just tell me, what she would like and how she would like to, start out her life and all of that. And so as I was on Facebook, seeing all these women, being doubtful and fearful just like me, but me being able to shift back, I was like, there's a real need out there. There's a real need for people to have somebody to guide you through and be like, no, let's shift out of the ego, let's shift out of the fear,
Right.
and let's go into the love, which pregnancy, motherhood is such a sacred, mystical experience. And, and I saw that a lot of moms were, more set in the fear around, just the pregnancy and then the birth.
Right.
So then, I had a wonderful birth to an extent. My afterbirth was somewhat traumatic. In birth, I really feel like we are never going to get closer to death than birthing a baby.
Wow.
We're literally opening the door, to where souls, I see it as a revolving door, like you, as a mom, you open the door for soul to come in, and as a death doula, you help them lead the way out. And so I was like, wow, what a mystical experience. And I birthed my daughter, and it was very mystical. I'm not going to lie, it was painful too, but really the pain started being more of a blissful experience. And then the end piece of, birthing my daughter was really the postpartum, and the postpartum was very hard for me.
And a lot of women have that. That's really tough. And they don't get help, the help that they need, a lot of them.
And that's really when I was like, no, I need to, refocus, because I was doing energy healing before that and coaching. I was like, but this is the niche. This is where I want to focus. Because all there was for me was allopathic medicine and therapy, which I think is wonderful. I'm very much an integrative practitioner.
Yes.
But there was this missing piece of like, well, there's also energy healing out there. There's also acupuncture. There's also diet. There's also these other things that we can do to increase hormones and to, and
work
And
with
to help with the
traditional
stress.
medicine.
And nobody
right?
tells us these things.
No,
we don't
not
know.
really.
There's,
I guess
it's not in any book. It's, you know.
Well, I think it's more available now. We're a
It's
little
more
older. Our
available
kids
now,
are
but-
older, but yeah.
But not when we were having children.
No,
Yeah.
not really.
Yeah,
And
so-
I know a lot of friends that suffered, had postpartum, probably didn't even know that that's what they had at
Right.
the time. So,
Right, and it was
Yeah,
very
so-
taboo
yeah.
also.
You know, every mother should have this, I think, now. Absolutely.
So it's almost like a different kind of being a midwife
In some ways, yes, it is.
in a different...
Absolutely. In some
way.
ways it is. It's
Yeah.
more like a spiritual midwife.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yes,
great.
I like that.
And
That's
this is
amazing.
how I like to coin myself, a spiritual midwife, because I help these spirit babies come through to their moms and
Right.
and help the moms be, you know, at their best, be whole and
great.
you know, and see the motherhood journey not just as a spiritual but one as of healing. Mm-hmm. And you know, and as we heal, we awaken in our divinity, which as moms, we are goddesses, just like dads are gods.
Right,
But
right.
it's a beautiful creative process of bringing another soul through into their
Right.
body, and so that's really what I'm about, what my practice is
I
about.
love that. Sounds so nice and peaceful. Didn't really think
does.
that way when
Yeah.
I...
And I love the idea that you're talking with the baby as well, with the
Yeah,
baby's
that's great.
soul.
Connect-
That's,
yeah,
you know,
I
that's
love that.
fabulous.
Yes, and I think that makes me different from other practitioners
Right.
because there's coaches out there working with moms and all that.
Okay.
But I'm really focused on the spirit baby realm. I communicate with them. You know, there's been a lot of communication there's a lot of high energy, high consciousness, you know, souls wanting to come through.
Right.
And they need their moms to know that they're there and that they want to come through a conscious body and into a conscious family.
That's great.
And
Like
knowing
saying hello before you meet.
Right, exactly. And spirit babies will actually float around and try to find their mommies and pick out
Wow,
mommies and
really?
choose different moms. Oh yes, my daughter, when she was in spirit, she told me, she was like, Mommy, I looked at several moms, but I thought you were the best for me in this incarnation. And I was like, you know, when I talked to my daughter even this morning, I was like, you know, I'm so grateful you chose me.
Oh,
I'm so grateful you chose me. So yeah.
Great.
All right. That is amazing. And you also do some other work. You don't just work with moms, correct?
I don't just work with moms.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about that.
I work with really people of all, you know, people that also don't identify with, you know, the motherhood journey. So, you know, whether you're, you know, a man, a younger person, you know, somebody who's maybe, you know, already outside of the motherhood journey, you know, grandma or, you know, whatever else. I do this similar things. I obviously don't work with spirit babies, but I will work with their, you know, guidance, their divine guidance, ancestors, you know, whoever might be around them that guides them. And I will do coaching and energy healing to come back to wholeness and essentially awakening, because that's what healing is
Right,
awakening out of our ego personalities.
Right. Well, that's
That's
great.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when is it that you realize that you have this gift to speak with spirit babies and do energy healing? Were they two different times even?
You know, I feel like I've always had it my entire life. I remember my own birth. I remember coming into this life.
Really?
Yeah,
And as a child, it was very disorienting because my mom would be like, "No, that was a dream," and I'm like, "Mommy, that wasn't a dream. It was very different." And I remember it even to this day as if it happened yesterday, which in some ways it
amazing.
did, right?
Right.
And so as a young child, I saw spirits. I could intuit things, you know, and it always kind of stuck with me. This, you know, birth, death, that was always a theme with me. And, you know, but it was kind of, unfortunately, like with a lot of young kids, you know, moms are dismissing it and they're like, that's not real.
Right.
Because it doesn't
Right.
fit into our society.
Right.
Right.
Right? And so, you know, it took me a while in my early 20s, I started realizing I'm very empathetic and I keep telling people things that just come to pass.
Right.
And at first I didn't really trust it, but then more and more people came back to me and were like, "Do you do readings? Can we,
Right.
can we like have a reading?"
That's great.
And so that's kind of how it developed.
And
how
you
it
use
happened.
everything together, really.
I use for me. If you come to my healing practice, there's a whole spectrum of
I love
things
that.
that
Yeah.
I will use.
That's
I will use
fantastic.
That is. That's
yoga, Ayurveda, you know, and I really
Okay.
Reiki.
Reiki.
So it's customized. It's
It's
customized to
customized.
the person and with their
Completely.
experience. Right.
Completely.
I love that. I think
Yes.
that's fantastic.
Yes.
Well, tell us, how can people find out more about you?
Yeah, you can find out more about me on my website, NuminousMama,
Okay.
or healingmoontherapies.com.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Well, so everybody be sure to check her out. And thank you, Dr. Christine, for
Yes.
being with us today and sharing all this. It's wonderful.
It's wonderful. It is.
Yeah,
Great
thank
to
you
meet
for having me.
Absolutely. And we'll be right back.